He is a powerful gangster godfather in Forged in Fire, and also another hardcore contestant who mastered the water forging technique. After the magic bladesmith, with half an hour of hand hammering, he easily completed the canister Damascus forging technique. A series of extreme operations opened the judge's eyes. He is Neil, the crossover contestant in Forged in Fire. To test the forging strength of this gangster boss, the program team specially invited 3 other contestants who were also new to blade forging to compete with Neil on the same stage. The 4 were required to use the hard-to-forge pickaxe and 2 1085 steel columns within 3 hours through the forging method of single steel or a mixture of 2 kinds of steel to make a distinctive short blade. As the countdown started, the contestants got to work immediately. Storm planned to forge a jungle short blade. Since single steel forging was allowed, Storm decisively gave up the 1085 steel column and turned to disassemble the hard-to-forge pickaxe. With one strike of the hammer, one end of the pickaxe was easily removed. Then he took a steel rod, forged the steel rod and the pickaxe steel together, and put them into the furnace for calcination. Also using pickaxe steel for single steel forging, compared to Storm, Dan's forging process was much more convenient. He planned to forge a recurved camping knife. First, he used a tough detachment method to disassemble the entire pickaxe. Then he threw it into the calcination furnace. There was no need to even weld a handle. He directly started forging. The end of the pickaxe exposed outside happened to be a convenient handle. After the initial heating of the pickaxe steel was completed, Dan put the red-hot steel billet on the power hammer and started the next step of fusion forging. Different from the previous 2 contestants who focused on pickaxe steel, Dimitrios decided to forge a Bowie knife using the Sanmai method. First, he disassembled and heated the pickaxe. Then he used the power hammer to extend and lengthen the steel billet. After the steel billet fusion was completed, he used a press with a mold to try to make the outer cladding layer. Finally, he added the 1085 steel column as the core and successfully completed the Sanmai fusion. On the other side, Neil designed a cool-looking kukuri knife. Since he had just crossed over to blade forging not long ago, he hadn't had time to practice many devices and had never used a power hammer. So after heating the steel billet until it turned red, Neil directly started the pure manual forging mode. After an hour of continuous and powerful hammering, he actually successfully hammered out the blade blank. Neil sprinkled the clear water brought from his hometown on the workbench, then placed the formed blade blank on the workbench, and started further forging. He wanted to use his signature water forging to further improve the toughness and strength of the blade blank. He hoped that the holy water brought from his hometown would bring him good luck in the competition. After the water forging was completed, Neil heated the blade blank again, then picked up a chisel with fire tongs, and began to carve patterns on the spine of the blade, striving to make the blade more beautiful. There was 1 hour left in the competition, and the contestants had finished their blade blanks one after another. After adjusting the details of the blade with a hand hammer, Storm also carefully drilled a hole at the tang of the blade, obviously very confident in his knife. Just then, who forged the blade blank purely by manual labor, was also the first to complete quenching. The other contestants completed quenching one after another, but unexpectedly, the blades of Dimitrios and Storm were bent. Dimitrios originally wanted to carry out a second quenching to remedy it, but after the operation, it not only failed to save the blade, but the degree of bending became even worse. Next, to save the blade, Dimitrios carried out quenching 8 times in succession, but none of them could adjust the blade back. Seeing that the time was approaching, helplessly, he tried to heat the edge with a spray gun, and finally took a risk to complete the 9th quenching, which barely straightened the blade. On the other side, Storm's situation was much better, although the blade was also bent. Fortunately, through the 3-pin correction method with the cooperation of fire tongs and a spray gun, he successfully corrected the blade. The countdown ended. The 4 contestants came to the judges with their finished short blades. What kind of works will they present? Who will be the first to leave regretfully? Let's wait and see. This is the top-tier steel for blade forging in Forged in Fire, helical spring steel. Blades forged from this kind of steel not only boast maximum strength and toughness, easily passing strength tests, but also never fail to surprise and astonish the judges at any time. To test the contestants' forging skills, as soon as the competition started, the host directly rolled out a crumpled car, ordering the contestants to forge a distinctive short blade within 3 hours, using the scrap steel in front of them. The blade length should be between 30 and 35 centimeters, and the tang must adopt a through tang design. As the countdown began, the contestants sprang into action one after another. Matthew picked up an angle grinder, pried open the car door, and went to town on the axle with brute force. In no time, he successfully cut off a sway bar. Considering the sway bar was too thick to forge easily, Matthew placed it under a cutting machine, planning to cut off the excess part first, before heating and forging it. On the other side, finding it too difficult to source materials alone, Dylan and Mike made a decisive decision to team up. After the 2 pried open the car door together, Dylan was the first to spot a leaf spring. To thank Mike for his help, Dylan voluntarily gave the leaf spring to Mike, while he himself continued to search for other steel materials. After getting the leaf spring, Mike wasted no time at all, throwing the steel directly into the forge furnace. He intended to forge a practical drop-point camping knife. Preheating the steel now would help him quickly build a leading advantage. But Dylan soon found himself in trouble. After giving the steel to Mike, he searched for a long time, only to find there was hardly any usable steel left. Helpless, he had to pick up a sledgehammer and smashed away at the car scrap steel violently, hoping that this way, he could chip off a suitable piece of steel for forging. Before long, Jim nearby quickly cut off a section of coil spring. He planned to cut cut the coil spring into pieces, put them into a steel can, fill the can with iron powder, and show off his skill in forging canister Damascus steel on the spot. Once the can was successfully filled, it was followed by a shower of sparks as he welded it shut. He finally finished welding the can and was ready to forge it, but when he looked up, he saw that Mike next to him was already using a power hammer to fuse his steel. Seeing this scene, Jim couldn't help but speed up his work. Matthew and Dylan were also falling behind. Although Matthew was the first to finish sourcing materials, processing the hard-to-forge sway bar cost him a great deal of time. After cutting off the excess steel, Matthew quickly put the steel into the forge furnace to heat it up. And Dylan's situation was even worse. An hour had passed, and he still hadn't found suitable steel. Just as he was on the verge of despair, a piece of steel deep in the middle caught his eye. Although it was just a leaf spring, it was at least a finished steel product. He planned to forge a chef's knife. Next, he would hurry up and start forging, hoping he could catch up with the progress. While Matthew and Dylan were rushing to make up for lost time, a mistake occurred beside them. When forging the steel can, not only did the outer layer accidentally catch fire, but during the subsequent stamping process, the steel billet in the can even cracked straight away. Help us. Jim had to source materials again and start forging from scratch. After some time, Matthew successfully hammered out the blade blank and began adjusting the details of the blade body. Dylan, who was the last to finish sourcing materials, also fused his steel with a power hammer and smoothly hammered out his blade blank. Mike had been leading from the start of the competition. After hammering out his blade blank, he turned around and cut a piece of mild steel, preparing to hammer out a guard for the blade next. At the same time, Jim was still searching for steel. Just as he was feeling discouraged, the thoughtful Matthew noticed his predicament and voluntarily gave him a leftover piece of steel. Although it wasn't much, it should be enough to forge a blade. After getting the steel, Jim sprang into action quickly. This time, he planned to forge a sanmai short blade. After cutting the steel, he used a belt sander to remove impurities from the surface of the steel. Then he put the 3 pieces of cut steel into the forge furnace to heat them up. With half an hour left on the countdown, Mike was the first to finish quenching. The blade body was in perfect condition. Shortly after, Dylan and Matthew also completed quenching one after another. At the very last moment before the countdown ended, Jim hastily finished his quenching. What kind of works will they bring us? Who will be the first to leave the competition regretfully? Let's wait and see. He is the most extraordinary teenage champion in the Forged in Fire competition. In his first round of participation, he created the toilet paper decanning method on his own. He achieved 6 quenches in 1 round during the time-limited challenge. His cool moves directly shocked the judges panel. He is the legendary genius bladesmith Ash. Though it was his first time competing, the program team showed no mercy to Ash at all. Not only did they bring in 3 experienced veterans to face off against him, but they also threw out a bunch of tricky large scissors, along with the devilish steel that can only be forged into Damascus steel using iron cans. According to the program team's requirements, the contestants need to forge a short knife within 3 hours, with a total length of the blade no less than 15 centimeters, and it must have a 6 centimeter serrated edge. Faced with such a highly difficult challenge, Ash couldn't help swallowing nervously, but as soon as the competition was announced to start, Ash burst out with amazing explosive power. He first used a cutting machine to cut off the scissor handles. After simply cleaning the steel, he directly took out paper towels and placed them inside the can as an isolation layer. Just as the judges were surprised by this rare move, Ash put the blade and steel powder into the iron can and resolutely carried out mixed filling. On the other side, Levi first used acetone to simply clean the steel, then used a belt sander to polish the blade meticulously. He filled the can with isolation liquid, and after ensuring everything was correct, Levi began to load the blade in an orderly manner. Jeff chose the same operation as Levi, pouring the isolation liquid into the iron can first, and then proceeding with further forging. Jeff was full of confidence because this was the method he learned from Judge Dennison. A large number of sparks burst out accidentally during forging. There might have been a little small mistake, but Jeff didn't seem to realize it yet. Different from the previous 3, after disassembling the blade, John did not perform any treatment at all, but instead directly filled the iron can with the blade and iron powder. After stamping the red-hot steel blank, John directly picked up the power hammer and started manual decanning. At the same time, Levi also began the decanning process. Unfortunately, he ran into trouble. The red-hot steel blank had fused completely together, making it impossible to remove the outer iron sheet. Watching the time tick away, Levi lost his patience too. He simply gave up on the decanning process and turned to shaping the knife instead. Before long, Ash also successfully took out the red-hot steel blank, just as the judges were all wondering what the purpose was of him putting toilet paper in the iron can earlier. The next moment, Ash gently pressed the steel blank with a stamping machine, and the soft steel outer skin fell to the ground in an instant. He completed the decanning process effortlessly, and this sight opened the judges' eyes wide. Jeff next to him was not so lucky. After several unsuccessful attempts at decanning, Jeff had to abandon the idea of decanning and quickly forge the knife shape to catch up with the progress. At this time, Ash had already started making the serrated edge. He used a triangular file to grind against against the forged knife blank, and delicate serrations gradually appeared on the blade. It was a very good effect. After confirming that the serrated edge was correct, Ash took the lead among the experienced veterans, and became the first to complete quenching. But the details after quenching still left Ash a little dissatisfied. A few seconds later, he put the knife blank back into the forge, planning to adjust it with a second quenching. Who would have thought that, after the second quenching, the blade unexpectedly bent? Out of perfectionism, Ash had to continue trying quenching experiments repeatedly. Considering that time was running out, the other contestants all sped up their progress. After all making the serrated edges with angle grinders, they also completed quenching one after another. At the very last moment before the countdown ended, Ash finally completed the sixth quenching. Levi had made a machete, Jeff a competition cleaver, Ash a Bowie knife, and John a Saxon shark knife. Who will be the first to be eliminated? Let's wait and see.